are live. What's up, folks? We are here to do kind of like a semi-reveal recap, reaction kind of to Wizards of the Coast big deal event today. So if you are a Magic fan, and spoiler alert, if you are a D&D fan, there's going to be some fun stuff in here for you guys. If you guys just are thinking about getting into this type of stuff, this is the video for you. So thank you again for tuning in, everybody. It might take a second for you guys to log in and things like that. You can definitely get at us in the comments here. If you're on, we're on live on YouTube right now, on the Facebook, and on our Twitch stream. So you can get us in the comments. There's a 10-second delay, so give us a second to respond. But Wizards of the Coast is toting that this is their biggest event in, I don't know, in history. Over the course of the next couple of months, they're going to be revealing a lot of stuff. So this is their first volley into that. It's going to be called the Summer of Legend. So I'm going to read the brief description. So let's see here. So in the next few months will be some of the biggest ever in Wizards of the Coast history, and we're sharing a season-long set of experiences you don't want to miss. It's the Summer of Legend, and it has something for everyone, and then even more. So that's pretty cool. I've got Pat here. He's our Magic expert and all kinds of gaming expert. And I've got Andre here, expert of all things cool, especially spoilers, D&D coming up. So
Dungeons and Dragons.
Stay tuned for that. This is toted as Magic stuff, but stay tuned for some D&D stuff. So Pat, do you want to kick us off on what exactly Summer of Legend is kind of spoiling or showing us and things like that?
So every summer, Wizards kind of touts a bunch of reveals around this time to kind of get everybody hyped up for their summer string of releases, right? So this year it's been a little weird, and with everything going on, and Magic has actually been surprisingly successful despite everybody not being able to play in stores, right? People are still buying Magic cards. They're still playing Magic Arena online. So with everything going on, you would think that is not as popular as it was, but it's the complete opposite. There's actually just as many people buying Magic cards. Like at least a lot of casual players are now playing Magic cards with family via Discord, via things like that. So what they've done is they've kind of pumped it up. And if you guys didn't know, Hasbro is now Hasbro, the company, owns Wizards of the Coast. So Hasbro, as in the people that make toys, the people that make Nerf guns, the people that coincidentally owns the D&D licenses. We keep hinting about it. And today, what they've done between this and a stream is that they just kind of announced their next couple products down the line. And one of the biggest ones is that, you know, they touted as a little bit of Magic for everybody, because some of the stuff that they announced today is geared towards the really, really competitive guys, and then there's some geared towards some of the casual guys, and of course the people in between.
Yeah. So a lot of cool stuff. Like, so they've dropped an article. If you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook, the link to the article should be in the description. So if you want to kind of follow along with us, I'm going to pop it up on screen so you can kind of see what's going on. But Pat, do you want to just get it on the screen and kind of talk about things in order?
Do you want to bring it up?
Yeah. So I can bring that up. So I'm going to share the screen now.
I guess the first thing that they announced is really more of a D&D thing, Dre.
Yeah. So we'll do a quick shout out to something D&D because we keep hinting on it. So back in 2018, in November, they dropped this, which is a Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica, which was a D&D setting set in the world of Ravnica, which is the Magic lore. I don't know, Andre, if you want to talk a little bit about this setting before we kind of dive into things.
All right. So I'll talk to you about how exciting this particular moment was. This was the first Magic the Gathering product setting that got transitioned into the realms of D&D. So this book is a guide for anybody to bring characters, places, items, races from Magic the Gathering, the card game, over into a D&D game. So it's not a standalone game per se. You're still going to need your player's handbook, your Dungeon Master's Guide. But what this game did was it took the cities of Ravnica and all the different guilds and all of that flavor and transported it into one of the planes or the realms of Dungeons and Dragons. So not only in this book, you got, like I said, you got magic artifacts, you could play different races. So they had the attributes and the skills and all this stuff and different classes, so that you could essentially look at all those cool Magic cards that you've had over the years if you were a Magic player and segue that into D&D. So both games have almost like this parallel history. D&D has been out for I want to say forever, such a long time, and then Magic came on, and the two are so close, and you're like, wow, how come they haven't done this before? But as Pat mentioned, you've got one company now owns both of them. Hasbro owns D&D, they bought that, and they own Wizards of the Coast. So it is literally like the chocolate and peanut butter that we've wanted to go together for such a long time. Yeah. And this was the first product that they did. So right away, myself as a fan of D&D and a super casual Magic player, I've known Magic for many years, not as much as someone like Pat, but I always dabbled in it at the store whenever there was something new. But this is, quotation marks, this is huge, because think about all the people that play Magic. And if 1% decided to check out this and segue into D&D, this is huge. So it was a great book. We got this book, we got a set of maps, and we got some dice. And like John said, this happened 2 years ago. And now,
3 years ago now.
3 years ago.
Now we're almost 3 years, because we're not quite November yet, but almost 3 years. Now we're going to see the payoffs. So I guess we'll start diving into some of these reveals. So, and then Andrea will fill in a lot more.
On that D&D conversation, Jeff.
Yeah. Because I think it's going to be very exciting when we get to it. So, Summer Legend, here's their graphic here. It's the same as we're running in the background. Pretty cool. It's like a vintage poster. Looks like a summer camp kind of poster. It's got like a dragon and a bunch of stuff flying around. So that first of all, that's pretty cool. That's a nice way to open this up. So I'll start scrolling down. Then Pat, you can stop me when we start getting to some cool stuff here.
Well, the first thing they talk about is that new video game coming out.
So they're talking about this new Dark Alliance video game, June 22nd. Looks like it's coming out on multi-platforms, real-time combat, dynamic co-op gameplay, pitting Drizzt and his legendary champions, a bunch of guys against the monsters of the D&D world. But video games are cool and all, but we're here to talk about cards and role playing. So we're going to skip over this. You can definitely check that out on your own time. But it's pretty cool to see other forms of media popping up. And I think they probably do mention it later in the article that Magic Arena is now available on your mobile device, I believe. So you can play it on your phone, which has been a long time coming. So let's talk here. So Modern Horizons 2. This is one of the new sets that's kind of up for pre-order right now. So if you are interested in this set, definitely get your name on waiting lists and notification lists and things like that. So I'll let Pat talk. This is a specialty set, I believe, right, Pat?
Yes. So Modern Horizons 2 is a follow-up to the first Modern Horizons set. And for all those semi-competitive Magic players, what Modern Horizons did was introduce stronger cards into the format known as Modern, which is kind of like all the cards from 2007 till now. So what Wizards has always done is they've always kind of limited your formats to just the most recent stuff, but then with power creep, some of the newer stuff just aren't good enough, right? So a couple of years ago, they did Modern Horizons 1, which was a set of just cards whose entire purpose is to kind of inject new cards specifically for the Modern format. And there are a bunch of really powerful cards. There are a bunch of new cards, niche cards. It was also a draftable format. And this year they've hinted that they're going to bring back these 5 cards that you're kind of scrolling through right now. We call them Switchlands.
Yeah,
right?
So these are old school. I remember these. This is like you require this for your
These were originally printed in 2008, 2007, and then they're worth a good amount, maybe like 20, 30, 40 bucks each now because they're hard to find. So Wizards has used this set as a way to kind of inject more people into the format and to kind of reduce secondary market costs, so people who want to play can actually get them in a reasonable price, right? So if you're a competitive Magic player, you know how big of a deal this is, right? I don't have an analogy, but it's like imagining that you've been gated by something and all of a sudden Wizards just goes, you know what? Everybody can have a little bit of it, right? So part of the reason why this set is so hyped has always been these handful of cards. They've always kind of been very careful with the way they print these kind of cards because there is a little bit of a market there, right? So this is one of the biggest things to happen this summer is that these fetch lands, specifically these 5, are finally seeing a reprint for this, and they haven't seen one for maybe about like 4 or 5 years, right?
Yeah.
So that's one of the big news going on, and There's also a schedule of new previews, card image galleries coming up in the next couple of days because
Yeah,
the set
this
comes
is
out relatively.
full card image galleries. Yep.
Yeah. Right. And obviously they also have images of the product that's available. So they're the draft boosters. We're gonna have these in the store, hopefully, right? But draft boosters,
Definitely.
yeah.
And draft boosters are, you might be confused by the terminology, but draft boosters are what basic booster packs and booster boxes were not even a year or so ago. They've now renamed them to draft boosters because they would be used in the draft format so many times. So it's your standard 15 card booster, yada yada yada. And now we're going to get into the kind of fancy stuff. So let's scroll down here. So these are set boosters. Pat, do you know a quick difference of set boosters and regular boosters? I think it's more foils and stuff.
Yeah, in set boosters, you're almost guaranteed a foil. And they created set boosters as a way for people who just like buying cards, right? There's a lot of people that we come in store and they buy these booster packs and they're like, oh, there's so many commons. All you're really looking for is the rare. So they created these new boosters that give you more possibilities of rares and guaranteed foils. So then if you want to actually play the draft format, you can get the draft boosters. If you want to just get more stuff, you can just get these set boosters, right?
And isn't it easier to collect an actual set? Like if you are a collector of Magic and you just want a set, it is a better and easier way because, like you said, the ratio is better.
Yeah, the ratio is slightly better. Yeah, the ratio is slightly better just for stuff because in the draft boosters you get a lot of duplicates, but then that's because they're meant to be played. They're meant to be played in the draft format, right?
Yeah. And shiny cards. Shiny cards are important.
This is probably like Deranged Hermit or something like that coming back with squirrels.
Yeah. All right. So set boosters, you can get the boxes. These two products are usually the same price per box usually, but you get less boosters with these with the set boosters. So you get, I think, 24 in a box. I believe these ones you get 36. So if you just like the sensation of cracking open packs, you could go with these modern Horizon draft boosters. But if you like shiny cards and fancy cards, then you might want to go with the set boosters. And now we'll move on to a whole different animal, which is the collector's boosters.
Oh,
I know we don't want to get too crazy into this, but let's talk a little bit about collector's boosters, Pat. So this is the most expensive option. If you want to pimp out your Magic stuff, you go for collector's boosters.
Collector boosters are both a blessing and a curse, right? Like they're great because if you can actually afford them and justify buying them, they're filled with so much shiny stuff. They're filled with so much shiny things, so many cool looking things. But the problem is they're a little pricey. They're not just, you can't just buy a pack for $3 or $4. So that's why I'm saying it's both a blessing and a curse. And inside these collector boosters, it's literally all foils or like all extended art cards or all a combination of both, right? Yep. So I mean, it's I love them, but they're a little pricey.
Yeah, they're a little crazy, but if you want to pimp out your stuff, you want to have the hottest looking deck or whatever, then this is what you go for. If you're collecting, especially if you're collecting Magic for the artwork, like even look at just the box art. Like this is crazy compared to like this squirrel is pretty pimp too. I don't know who this guy is. They're all nice. Typically they would actually reuse the same art over and over. Now they're I don't know if they started with the last set or not, but they're like changing up the box arts and stuff like that. So let's go here. So this is your typical bundle. So this is the way to get a bunch of packs together and get a land and a special die. I think the die is like bigger now, right, Pat? I think we confirmed that.
Yes, the one in the bundles are slightly bigger.
Yeah. And then we have pre-release. So there will be a pre-release for this set as well, which is pretty sweet. And that used to be the event we run in the store. At the moment, all in-store gaming is suspended by Wizards of the Coast due to the pandemic. So a lot of it is just take-home pre-release. So you're going to be able to get these types of packs from us, the store, or whatever your local game store is, about a week before release, as well as the set boosters. The set boosters are usually available at that time as well. So almost kind of like a sneak preview or a pre-release of the set. So we'll talk more on that later. Let's start getting to the hot stuff. So these are the same lands that we just showed earlier. But if you'll notice, they are missing the border. So this is where art cards start getting pimped out. So the art is extended. I don't know if you remember the terminology for these cards, Pat. Is it full art?
Extended.
Yeah. Yeah, so these are extended art versions of those cards. So you can't just have the regular one in your deck. You got to have something nice. So
these will probably come in foil too, and those are probably going to be worth an arm and a leg.
yes. So if you manage to score one of these in foil, you're laughing to the bank here. So let's keep going. There's a lot of stuff. So look at this. These are those same cards again.
Yeah.
But these are old school. So this is what Magic cards used to look like. Yeah. So these are what cards used to look like way back in the day for you young kids. So these are cool. How hard are these, Pat? Are people going to want to get these?
It depends, man. Some people really like old border cards, right? It's like Timespire Remastered that came out like a couple of months ago. The entire selling point were these old border cards, and and that set sold like hotcakes, right?
Yeah.
So what they're done is they're smart. They're doing various versions of cards. So like I was saying before, for the collectors and the hardcore guys, there's a little bit of everything. If you're a collector and you want one of everything, you can collect the full art versions. You can get the retro frames, right? But as an aggregate of the whole, if you're a player, you're just all of a sudden there's just more versions of these cards, right? More versions of these cards for people to buy and play.
And which do you know which one is going to be more rare than the others? Is it going to be these retro kind of like original border
don't know
ones?
yet.
Going to be
I have no idea.
So this is to be revealed. We don't know what's going to be the hardest to get.
We don't know if these retro border cards are one per pack. We don't know because in Timespire Remastered they're one per pack, right? We don't know.
All right. So cool. So this is the buy a box promotional card. So this is cool for brick and mortar stores like us. Is how you get this card. So if you bought it off some other online venue, you probably won't get this card. So this is the incentive to support your local game store. You do get this bonus card, which is if you can see in the corner here, it is a mythic, which is signified by this. What is it, like a burgundy symbol or whatever?
Call it a diamond.
Yeah. Well, the color, it's like a reddish
color,
color,
reddish gold.
Yeah, and it's done in the old art frame, so that's really cool. So you get one of those while supplies last, and things like that. So let's talk Counterspell, good old Counterspell. If you guys have been playing for a while,
one of the gimmicks is that that one of the running jokes has always been Counterspell as a card is way too powerful for modern, but apparently it's not true. They're making this card legal in modern. So
Modern Horizons, in the name, the idea is it is for the modern format, I believe, right, Pat?
Mm-hmm.
But can be used in whatever format that this card is.
It can be used in all other formats except for standard.
Yeah. All right. So look at this. So this is a hella fancy Counterspell. So I'll scroll back up to the other guy. So the artwork is completely different for this one, and it has no border again. So it's pretty fancy. So you want to put. So this is new. I don't think I've seen this thing here. I think it showed up a little while ago. Yeah, go ahead. A little bit about this card. Yeah.
So again, with the entire intent of injecting more powerful cards into the format, there's apparently creating a new card type that is like, I guess it's an enchantment land, right? And it's an enchantment land that's also a saga, which is like 3 things at once, I guess, right? Yeah. Which is insane because this is not something that you would thought would have ever existed, but apparently they're creating a card that's an enchantment, a land, and a saga.
Right? Yeah. So very briefly, how does this card work? Can you have to do one first?
So when you play it, you do 1, and then at the beginning of every main phase following, you do 2, and then the turn after that, you do 3. Yeah, if that makes any sense.
It's like a story.
Your first turn, you do whatever's on the first line, and then I guess functionally, your first turn, you do what's on the first line. Your second turn, you do what's on the second line, and then the third turn, you do what's on the third line.
And then this particular card, you have to sacrifice it after the third thing. So it kind of like it goes through a storyline, I guess is kind of the idea.
And then to add on to the whole collecting thing, they're also making different versions of these, and they kind of for these alternate arts, they scaled it back. So then you see like the basic sketch art, which is insane. So if you're a big fan of collecting art pieces, this is the same card, but the art is stripped back.
So this is like comic books, like when we sell a comic book and they do a sketch cover or a variant cover and things like that. So they're introducing these type of concepts, and so I think that's really cool, especially as a collector. And if like so now let's get into the cool stuff. I don't know if they have anything else to talk about for Modern Horizons 2.
That's the set that they introduced for the highly competitive and tournament players. The next thing we're going to talk about is really more for the I want to call it the the regular semi-casual players and the everybody let's play some Magic set. And I think, as you can see, it's the Dungeons and Dragons set.
Yeah. So previews begin for more previews for Modern Horizons begin May 24th, it looks like. So keep your eyes peeled. And sometimes they send us stores an exclusive card to reveal. So let's hope they do that again. That was a lot of fun to participate in last time. So Dungeons and Dragons Adventures in the Forgotten Realms. So I don't know, Andre, do you want to talk a little bit about Forgotten Realms before we kind of scroll past this wicked image of a dragon and elf panther?
Apparently a panther.
So this image is what got me super stoked because, yes, it's a dragon, but it's none other than Drizzt, the dark elf, and his panther that gets summoned from the astral plane. Drizzt is one of the most iconic characters from the Forgotten Realms, really brought to life by the fantasy author R.A. Salvatore, who's written a ton of the novels and really embellished. Like when you say Forgotten Realms, I think Drizzt and Baldur's Gate are the two things that come to mind. But a really cool story for our store and for Forgotten Realms is Forgotten Realms was created by a fellow named Ed Greenwood. And one day, of course, Murphy's Law, for some reason, I was not at the store that day. And a nice, kind gentleman walks into the store and has a cool conversation with John Ho, my business partner at Heroes World. And he's at the store. And this is Ed Greenwood, the creator of Forgotten Realms, just came in to buy some stuff from Heroes World. He's local. So
super nice guy, super humble guy.
I missed the chance to meet him. I'm like, oh my God, John's got a great photograph with him. So super, super cool moment. So a fantastic kind of link to not only our store, but Canada, and the link to something that has been around since the 70s. So he is the creator of the Forgotten Realms setting. Now, that doesn't mean he's written everything about it, but he's the guy that created those short stories that morphed into video games, comic books, novels, and so much merchandise and stuff. And Forgotten Realms is the most popular setting for Dungeons and Dragons. And for those of you who don't know D&D, this is what you call a pen and paper role-playing game created way back, I think I want to say 1974, but if there's some fact checkers out there, go back. But this was created back then by two gentlemen. The names you're going to recognize, Gary Gygax and Dave Arneson. I think that's how you pronounce it. So these two guys in their basement created this game, and it has existed in many forms since then. They came out with the first version, and then it came out to Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, and that's where Forgotten Realms setting was introduced. Yeah. So it's super, super exciting. I'm a longtime D&D fan and player. And as we mentioned at the beginning of our little talk here, is like there was a D&D Magic setting in D&D, but now we get the reverse. We're gonna get cards.
Yeah. So we're gonna get into some of the cards. They showed off some of the cards, so we're gonna let Andre talk a little more about that afterwards, and we might talk a little bit more about this guy here. I don't know if you're seeing the Drizzt and stuff like that. So let's start scrolling down, and Pat can kind of talk a little bit more about Magic, so you guys can get a little bit of both going on. But yeah, it was definitely a pleasure to meet Ed. A super humble guy. It was so crazy. I literally looked around the shop. I'm like, I can't believe none of the other guys is here, and I had to take a picture because I'm like, no one will ever believe me. So I'm like, oh, you mind taking a picture? And he was like super nice about it. And I was like, all right, so let's rock and roll. So let's see what's next here. So we've got a little schedule here. So previews begin June 29th, and then it will be available on MTG Arena and online on July 8th. And then you'll start seeing our pre-release the July 16th to 22nd in-store play where available. Who knows what their situation is going to be.
It'll be July, man. Hopefully we can play in-store by then.
Yeah. Hopefully we can play in small pods or something like that, but we'll see. And then July 23rd is the full worldwide release. That's when you get everything, your collector's packs, everything comes out at once. But let's show off a little bit of these cards. So these are, if you're new to Magic, these are basic lands. So these are the plain Jane, meat and potatoes of Magic. But there's something different, and I'll let Pat talk about what exactly is different on these cards. Some of you might have already noticed it. Go ahead, Pat.
To my knowledge, these are the first basic lands with flavor text on them, which is very significant, especially since we're talking about Dungeons and Dragons, a set where it's all about flavor. The art looks fantastic, but the fact that there's flavor text on your basic lands, it's crazy. I don't know what to say. Have you read some of this flavor text? Does it make sense to what it is?
Yeah. So I'll read the plains one since I can see it the best. So plains, and then flavor text here, which is the text at the bottom. I don't know if you're going to see my mouse here. Normally, this section on the bottom below the artwork is blank for a basic land. It used to have like a tap symbol, I think, at one point, and then they just annihilated that, and they were super plain, and all you'd get is artwork. And then sometimes they started doing full art lands and stuff like that. But this one says, "Venturing beneath the desert sands, you've discovered an alien power pulsing within inconceivable energy." So I guess it's in reference to this kind of sun in the back of the plane. So it's just cool that you're going to get a little bit of extra something, like added value to these sometimes cards that would just get thrown away or tossed on the floor.
That's the beauty of this so far, is like Dungeons and Dragons has so much flavor, so many realms, so many locations, so much history. It would be a waste not to actually base your lands on locations in the game, from D&D, and it's fantastic. Think about all the deck options. Like, you could have your lands telling a story, like John said. You start in one place and then you're kind of moving on. So the choice for just to like pimp your deck, like you guys are talking about, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, even like imagine, I'm sure some people might even get this blown up and put up as posters or something. I'm looking forward to next set when they start adding basic lands motivational posters or something like that.
Now, every set normally has like 3 or 4 different arts for every basic. Hopefully, all of them have flavor text.
Yeah,
and different flavor text.
Yeah, that'll be crazy. So people will be collecting like 3 sets of each land and stuff like that. That's like a first, I think. So Adventures in Forgotten Realms. So we're going to look at some cool cards. So let's look at Portable Hole. This is a white card artifact. When Portable Hole enters the battlefield, exile target non-land permanent an opponent controls with mana value 2 or less until Portable Hole leaves the battlefield. So it's just a funny card because the flavor, like the picture, what it does, it basically drops. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but it basically just drops something out of the match for a second there, and then it'll pop back up when you get rid of this Portable Hole. So it's kind of funny.
It's functionally no different than a bunch of those cards that put something in exile for a little bit, right? But the fact that they put a very D&D flair to it is kind of the good part.
But that's
so this could be an item you have, right, Andre? So you could have a Portable Hole in your satchel or your gear that you bring.
Yes.
The flavor text kills me. The flavor text says they fall for it every time, which is great. So and then we've got Power Word Kill, and then which is an instant, and it's destroy target non-angel, non-demon, non-devil, non-dragon creature. So it's very specific, right, Pat? But you sometimes need these very specific cards.
This card is like a variation of the standard. We call it like the standard Doomblade, like type of kill spell in Magic. But the fact that it targets non-angels, non-demons, non-devils, non-dragons, I'm guessing that's a D&D thing.
Well, okay, so I'll give you a little background. Like this is a spell. This is an ability that a character could have. But in D&D, no mere mage or human or whatever is going to be able to just say to a higher level being like an angel, a demon, or a dragon, just say Power Word Kill. It's literally you are saying die to something, and that's got to be something like a zombie or another human or an orc or something like that. But you're not going to look at a red dragon and you're like, I'll Power Word Kill. It doesn't matter how big a level you are as that mage, because in D&D your spells have levels too, right? So you can cast a lowly magic missile at first level. Doesn't matter if you're 10th level and you're casting Power Word Kill, it's not going to smoke anything that's a higher level than it. So very flavorful card, really makes you listen. If all they were going to do was on the surface make this, Magic D&D without changing it, then there's no point. It's just a surfacing. But this shows that they put some effort, time, and
They thought about it.
Yeah, these are going to be cool. Like Andre was saying, not a lot of people collect full sets of Magic. I think it's a very kind of small niche market, but for something like this, I think it is definitely going to be a thing. Like if you're going to be able to flip through these cards in a binder and you're a D&D player or you're playing in D&D, how cool is it going to be to pull these cards up? And like I said, I'm not going to read them all, but they all have flavor text to go with them, which is really, really cool. So I'm going to scroll down and see if there's anything else. Okay, now we got a big deal guy here. This is a big dragon. Those of you not familiar with Magic, if you look at the top right-hand corner is his casting cost, which is a hell of a lot, 1 of each color and 2 colorless. Pat, how easy do you think this is going to be to get out there?
It's kind of difficult if you're playing like a standard 2-person game. It's going to be a while unless you find ways.
So what is this creature most likely going to be used for? We're looking at his text and it says legendary creature dragon god. And then we'll let Andre jump in with who exactly this dragon is. But what is this going to most likely be used for? Honestly,
it's probably going to be used in a competitive deck that you don't actually pay mana for stuff, like you cheat it in, or in as like a commander card, like an
commander. Yes.
Right now he's legendary, so he can be your commander. Great. I have no idea who Tiamat is, right?
Yeah.
But he's legendary and a dragon god, so I'm guessing he's a big deal.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. So first of all, shout out to Gordon who's nailing everything we're talking about here. So this is awesome. I can't believe the wealth of knowledge that Gordon has. So you'll often see him on the Sidekick show and some of our other things, and I've had him on a couple of times. So like shout outs to Gordon. You're nailing everything here. Go ahead, Andre. Who is Tiamat, and why do we care that this dragon has so many heads?
to put this in a little bit of perspective for Pat, who's a Magic player, this dragon is the equivalent of like Nicol Bolas on crack. Okay, this is the dragon god Tiamat, the queen of the dragons, almost like a Hydra, but each one of her heads are the primary queen of the dragons, right? This is the primary colors of the dragon. There's a red dragon, there's a blue dragon, green dragon, and each head has the distinct power. This is, you would never face Tiamat and live in D&D. Like, she is the, again, the dragon god, the mother of all dragons. It's such a cool creature, and to see this art, and I love the casting cost because it represents all the different colors that she is. So again, D&D actually being properly represented in Magic the Gathering. This is not a reskin, folks. This is guys who know both games and are intertwining them. And so far, I'm super, super impressed. So scroll up and show the other picture of that, John. Because
well, hold on. I'm going to quickly go over the text here. So it is flying, of course. All I believe all dragons fly, right, Pat? And then it says, when Tiamat enters the battlefield, if you cast it, search your library for up to 5 dragon cards not named Tiamat that each have different names. Reveal them, put them into your hand, and then shuffle. And then the flavor text is, my children will rule over all. So that's pretty cool. What are you going to do with a handful of dragons, Pat? Are you going to sneak them into play or what?
I mean, if I was playing a dragon EDH commander deck, I probably have ways to lower the cost of my dragons or sneak them into play.
Yeah. All right. So it will definitely involve something. This is one of the fun things of Magic, these combos. So creating, like, you read the text of that card, and what you automatically want to do is figure out, how can I abuse or break this thing and demolish my friends in a game. So this is the fun thing about playing competitive Magic. You can definitely play casual Magic. That's a lot of fun. And in Commander, I think this guy is going to be a blast. So let's scroll the other card that Andre wants to take a look at. So look at here. We got fancy here. So this is, I don't know, like, this is the full art, full frame. Do you have a guess on how much this is going to be worth, Pat, off the top of your head? Like, pure speculation, like star of the set for sure. I don't know, like,
depends on how powerful it is in competitive play.
Yeah.
If it's not very powerful in competitive play, it'll probably still be like minimum 20 something, $20. If it's good in competitive play, it's going to be like $30, $30, $40.
I think you guys are missing a little thing. This might not have that value for the Magic.
Exactly. So Andre, this guy might be the star of the set.
Collectors. Listen, there's going to be, guys, D&D is huge right now. Look at all the celebrities playing D&D. There's so much thing. These guys are going to want the first set of Magic D&D cards. And if this is as I can see here, a mythic rare and a full art mythic rare, this could be that $100 blue eyes white dragon, $200 type of card that people are just like,
this is
I need it for my set.
Yeah,
I gotta have
this is a new factor that we haven't seen previously. This is first appearance of this dragon in Magic, and maybe it becomes a staple in Magic going down the road.
Let me just say,
with card collecting, what it is.
Let me just say, when Ikoria came out, there was a full art Ghidorah, and Ghidorah is a normal Ghidorah is like $90. A full Ghidorah is like 130. Just throwing that out there.
So
and that was before the card market caught on fire. So who knows what this is going to be worth now? We can speculate all we want. So let's sorry, Andre, did you want to say one more thing? Or
no, I think it's beautiful. I think it's going to be cool. And with the market what it is today, it'll be interesting. And like Pat was getting at earlier, these cards, sure, they might be the most popular, they might be the most rare, but if they don't kind of have that synergy in the game, that is typically the factor that makes them valuable. If they are used in a tournament level deck or something along those lines, that's what drives up the value. But now we've got a whole new other factor in with all these other collectors coming in. So, all bets are off the table now. So that's why kind of loaded question asking Pat there. But let's keep scrolling and see if we see anything else. What is this? So I don't know exactly what this is. This card is blank, Pat. So I think it's some type of token possibly. But I'll leave Andre to describe what this thing is. But any speculation on what this is?
Before we explain what this thing with the eyeball is that I don't know. Yeah. So every set recently, they've had alternate frames for cards as like thematic with the set, right? So this is this set's theme border. So there's supposed to be words on it, but they just blanked it out to kind of keep it kind of a surprise. But this art style looks like what it's going to look, what all those alternate art version cards are going to look like. I'm guessing the way it's designed, it's supposed to look like that because probably in like a monster manual or something like that, that's how it looks. I'm guessing, Trey, or like inside like a handbook or like a monster manual, right? But again, I don't know anything about this eyeball thing. Right, but the art.
You guys are definitely
okay. So I'm new. I'm really new, green on D&D, but I know that if this thing pops up in your adventure, you run the hell away and you get the F out of there because you are not taking this down if you don't even know what it is. I don't even know if in the history if anyone's ever taken this thing down, but let's let Andre talk about exactly who this dude is.
All right.
And a bunch of people in the chat have already gotten it.
You guys have definitely heard of it. It's called the Beholder, and it's where the eye of the beholder. This thing is just a fearsome creature. It is so fearsome. It is on the cover of the deluxe edition of the D&D book. And again, like John says, this creature, you run and you hide, or somebody is taking one for the whole team to avoid a total party kill. Let me read you the flavor text in the monster manual here. It says, every beholder thinks it is the epitome of beholder kind, and the only thing it fears is that it might be wrong. So this thing is just the most unholy incarnation. The central eye has like a mega death beam, and each other eye does stuff. You can't hide from it in the game. It's 150 feet range, a cone. You've got to be either level 20 to face this thing, or you're getting out of dodge. I'm super curious as to why they didn't want to spoil that flavor text, but I'm expecting something epic from that card.
I have a question, Ray.
What a great, creepy looking card. It's just, this guy is not.
He's on the cover.
He's never happy to see you.
Go ahead, Pat. I had a question for you, Andre.
Yeah. So in Magic, power and toughness is like kind of related to physical strength. Since he's a beholder, do you think he would have like a really powerful ability, or would he have like a really powerful like number line? Like would he be like a 10-10, or would he just be like destroy all creatures?
I think you're gonna see something where he's gonna be a Magic card with a variable, where his power and toughness are gonna be equal to something. because you're not going to want to put this out as a 4/4 or whatever because if you put it at a 10/10, what level you're going to cast them? It's definitely going to be a variable. Power and toughness equal to the number of lands you have or the number of whatever. Anyways, I'm expecting something cool. But again, just the fact that this guy is in the first set with Tiamat, again, I keep saying it. Wizards is they're punching. They're like, hey, we're going to give these guys true D&D. We're not going to roll out a half-baked set so they come back for set 2. No, they're like, okay, we're going to shoot. We're shooting for the stars first, and then that's going to show that we've got even more stuff if they get to a second set, which they've got more than enough content for.
Yeah, so awesome. Thanks everyone for tuning in and commenting. I think we're all pretty excited for this. So I don't know if there's anything else, Pat. Let's keep going.
There's one cool thing coming up that I'm super excited about.
So let's
images of the box art.
Now we've got images of the box art. Again, our draft boosters again. It does have this guy here, Drizzt, and then the dragon in the pack. I don't know what's going on in this box. Look at this one.
That's the beholder just baking people. Look at all those beams shooting.
yeah. So that's pretty cool. And that is your set booster. So those are your fancier versions of your regular draft boosters, and you get less per box, but you get more pimp stuff. You get more.
And you get a foil in every pack, right? For that
in the set boosters, yes.
Yeah. I don't know if it's guaranteed foil and art card. So if you want bling bling, that's where you go. And then look at this box for this. I feel like this box is going to be collectible. Like, look at the packs. The packs match the box. I don't know if that is what they're doing lately, Pat. But the fact that they're going with such an off color, so you can look at these color packs and stuff like that, and then they're going with this silver. So I don't know if they're just shooting for people to just sit on sealed boxes of this. But these collectors boosters, typically they're around $30 Canadian. Who knows what's going to happen when this drops and how hot it's going to be, if it's going to go up or down from there. But yeah,
depends how much Andre wants.
Yeah. If you love gambling and you love shiny cards, this is what you got to get here. This is the collector's box. So we've already talked a little bit about the format of collector's box, and then we have the bundles, which are really cool. It comes with a cool cardboard box to store all your stuff in. Like we said, the dice. It'll be a D20. It'll be a spin down D20. I wonder if they'll switch it up and make it into a randomized D20 so you could use it for D&D. Who knows? That'd be interesting. They've got this here, the pre-release pack. So we will be running a pre-release, most likely a take-home pre-release set. But nevertheless, we are definitely going to do, if we are able to run something. Oh man, I really miss running these events. So hopefully something happens.
Can I throw something in? If we can get enough product for this, I want to say this out there. Like, I think this is the set that is perfect for our store, because we love D&D. We used to run D&D in the store. We love Magic. If anybody out there is listening to this and hasn't done D&D, I think this is going to be kind of that perfect middle step to be like, I want to understand where it is. I want to understand what it is like. And if you've never played Magic before, again, I think this is the set for new people, because the cool thing about this is that you can attach yourself to creatures and characters that you can then read about in novels or play in video games. So there's other ancillary stuff. Or if you're just a player of D&D, now you've got access to different art of all the stuff you've seen over the years in various players' handbooks.
Yeah. D&D players running their adventures either, over Zoom or whatever. Now we'll have art to pull, and hopefully they'll pull up that whole Magic card, and maybe people get into that, which will be really cool, because there'll be lots of different ways to play it. So this is very, very, very exciting for us. And then, good question. Someone popped in here already. Fraser asked about commander boxes, and I think, Pat, that's what we're scrolling into next.
Yes.
So created to line up along Strixhaven's commander decks, which did really well for us. The brand new set, Magic Strixhaven. We have a decent stock of booster packs right now. Commander decks, we've only got a couple styles left. We've got more coming though. So and if you're not familiar with Commander, it's a fantastic way to play casually with your friends. In a group when we're allowed to gather again, or over we Discord or Spell Table or whatever method you're going to use. So let's talk commander decks. So I see some titles here, Pat. Mm-hmm. Is there pictures to go along with these, or should we just stop on the titles?
Not yet. So there's 4 commander decks. These are the names, and you can kind of get an idea of what they are or what they do, but there are no pictures yet.
Yeah,
So
let me throw some
Courage,
guesses out. The Aura of Courage is probably white and something else, right?
What's the theme?
Or courage.
No, honestly, I think the theme's auras, because auras are a card
Auras.
type in Magic.
Okay.
Like enchant creatures.
Okay. So it's definitely a white deck mixed with what though? Who knows?
Who knows?
Dungeons of Death, that is definitely a swamp death destruction style deck. Draconic Raid.
John, I don't know if you remember this. Remember how like a year ago we talked about Zendikar Rising and the party mechanic? I'm going to say this deck is about the party mechanic. Because what do you do with your party?
Yes.
You go through Dungeons of Death.
Yeah. So they introduced this new party mechanic. Was it with Strixhaven or was it the set before?
No, it was Zendikar Rising.
Zendikar Rising.
Zendikar. Yeah. They introduced this party mechanic, which is really cool. And now it's going to come into full effect. So that's going to be really
they were
cool.
just testing it out and perfecting it to put it in this D&D. They didn't want to put it in D&D and it be faulty, right? So now they
knew they needed to have a certain level of like clerics and warriors, right? But so that's why they introduced it back in Zendikar. And then now it's coming full circle. Now there's more warriors, more clerics, more druids, and more whatevers.
Yeah. All right. And before we go on, shout outs to Gordon. He posted a scenario here, Andre. I don't know if you have any input on this. He said, Beholder almost TPK'd our entire party, a 4-year game, 5 of us levels 15 to 17. So I don't know if you have any insight on exactly the jargon that is.
Yeah. So, I'm surprised that your DM was mean enough to put you guys at that level 15 to 17. So something your party did, Gord, to piss off the DM. And I don't know if you guys are still friends, but let's hope you had a cleric with a nice resurrection or something. A backstab critical. Look at that. Yes, the dice gods were with you.
Yeah. All right. And a critical roll is a natural D20 roll, right?
The natural 20 hits anything in Dungeons and Dragons on a D&D on a D20.
All right, so let's keep going, Pat. Let's see what else we got here. So we've got some swords.
Vorpal Sword.
So are these all the same card with different looks to them? All right, so let's I'll let you can take it, Pat. I think I've already explained this a couple of times. If there's anything you want to add to it,
so generally,
and then we'll let Andre add the D&D flavor.
Yeah, there's different versions of cards. So it looks like the one on the left is the one that you're going to get in regular packs. The one in the middle is probably like the extended art one, just like some of those extended cards that we saw previously. And then the one on the right side is the buy a box promo. So you automatically get one of these when you buy a box of I don't know what the official name of the set is. Adventures in the Forgotten
Adventures.
Adventures. Yeah, like you get one of these whenever you buy a box from your local brick and mortar store, kind of like the Sanctum Prelate from Modern Horizons 2.
Yeah. So what do you know about this sword, Andre? Is it any significance in D&D?
It's super significant. D&D's got some amazing weapons and stuff. So the Vorpal Sword is the sharpest weapon, and it's basically a kill. It's like you get hit by this, and it's going to kill. And read what that ability is. It may have a small casting cost for you to put that out as one, but look at it. It gives it death touch, right? Am I reading that correctly?
Yeah. So equipped creature gets +2/+0 and has death touch.
Did you
there's
see
a whole bunch of stuff after that. Yeah. So
it kills everybody, right? For 8 mana, it kills a player.
Yes.
Okay, so I'll read it if you guys can't see it on the screen here. So for five colorless mana and 3 black mana, until the end of turn, Vorpal Sword gains whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, that player loses the game. So you're out. So typically Magic is a one-on-one game, but this is probably going to see a lot of use in games like EDH and things like that. So if you get slammed with this sword and your creature doesn't take some damage for you or whatever, you are potentially gone and out of this game.
Look at the combos,
which is hilarious.
Think of a creature, like let's hope they've got the trample mechanic, and we've already seen the fly mechanic. So if you put this on a flying creature and your opponent cannot block, all you need to do is get 1 damage through to
and 8 mana.
That guy. Well, 8 mana. So this is the perfect long-term game card, or like you said, EDH or Commander. Let's call it Commander by it. Yeah. So again, perfect on that flavor text, man.
I got a question.
Card type.
Are there multiple Vorpal Swords in D&D lore?
Yeah, because this is not designated legendary. That's why Pat's
it's not
asking that. Legendary means only one of these exists.
It's not a legendary item per se, but you would never, like in D&D, it's a party game. Your dungeon master's never going to hand these things out like candy. You're not going to find one. If you had a fighter or a barbarian or a paladin or somebody in your party, and you find one, you're going to find one. You're not going to be like, oh, hey, the rogue's going to have a Vorpal Sword dagger, and the paladin's going to have a two-hand.
But it's not legendary in lore, though.
No. So it's almost like a weapon type, But yeah, it's like if you would say compare it to like Marvel, it'd be like adamantium, right? Many people have different adamantium things, but this sword, and it looks so cool. Oh man, I'm drooling.
Yeah, it looks cool. I can't wait for it because now Hasbro is releasing. They released a Drizzt action figure, so maybe we will get a prop replica of a Vorpal sword down the road, which would be very cool. Shout outs to Jonathan Yo who kind of double takes at the mana cost, but hey, that's why this is your mission, John, to figure out a way to break or abuse this card.
Well, you never do it all in one turn. That's the thing. If you see your opponent put that down,
you never know.
It's almost like you've got to be like, my God, I need artifact destruction, because if somebody's running a Vorpal sword, I don't want to lose the game.
Yeah, so there's going to be many ways to play Magic. That's why Magic is such a crazy game. Anything can happen. So you can read all that text on that card, but until you see the other cards that are in this set and what other sets can be combined with this set, when things really go crazy. So let's keep growing, see if there's anything else we want to talk about. So let's see here. June 29th, Secret Lair. So this is typically, so this is Magic's specialty set. They do one a year, Pat, or is it like 2 a year? Or?
No, it's multiple. But they're just like singles with like a theme that they sell directly. They haven't really revealed anything yet, but we'll see. That's just kind of in the future.
Yeah, so they're just teasing us. And then we this is the local game store legendary play.
This is the last
promotion.
Yeah.
So we've got so this is a special card that we are gonna get in limited quantity, of course, to give away. For
we will likely be getting them in the store.
Yeah, so depends on the promotion. It might be just buy some packs or come in and get the new pre-release or come in on a Friday night or something like that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So this is cool. Fabled Passage. Is this just a fan favorite card, Pat, or is this like
it's a staple? It's one of those staple cards that everybody can use, I guess. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's an EDH. It's a commander staple for sure. If you're more than it's definitely helpful. It's an old frame, so that's what everybody's pumped about it. But yeah, it's being given away with purchases of $50 USD or more, and at your brick and mortar. This is kind of their way to get people back into the store, despite the year of COVID.
Yeah, so this is pretty cool. We've mentioned Commander a couple times. Do you want to just quickly go over what exactly Commander is, Pat? Like it's a fun kind of it can get competitive.
So Commander is a format where you kind of pick a character a legendary character to be your commander, and you play Highlander style. So you can only have one of every card. And you normally play it in multiplayer like settings, and the thing about Commander, what people like about it is that because you play with bigger decks, you play with 100 card decks, it lets you play things and try things, gimmicks, using a different legendary character. For example, you can use Tiamat that we kind of reference as your commander, and you can build a dragon deck. And the thing about the commander is that they're not in your deck, you set them aside, so you always have access to them. Right? So if you're building a dragon deck and you're like, oh, you know what? I can fill my deck with dragons and I always have access to Tiamat, your entire game plan can be to get enough mana to cast Tiamat as soon as possible and basically get 5 dragons in my hand and then use my dragons to beat people up.
Yeah. Right? And so this is a fantastic, usually a group. What's the recommended group size?
At least 3? Groups. We like playing at least 4. Because when you only play 3, just like every 3-player game, what ends up happening is that one person gets ganged up on. But that's with every game, right? It's not Magic specific.
Yeah. Any situation where there's 3 competitive people together, one person is going to unfortunately receive the beat stick. So Commander, wonderful, fun format that can be played both competitively and casually. So definitely check it out if you've never ever heard of it, which I'd be very surprised now. it's a great way to just chill with your buddies and get time to play cards and be invested and have fun. So let's scroll down. I think there's only a couple other kind of teases coming out. So this is the Mystery Booster Convention Edition. I'm not quite sure what this is.
These
so
are
it looks like we will get these in theory.
When the mystery boosters came out like a couple of years ago, John, last year, the stores sold them, but there was something different. Like these were the ones that were given out at conventions, and they had like prototype cards in them, right? So these were supposed to be only available at like the GPs and Magic Fests, right? But what they're doing again to try and kind of get people back in the store, they're going to be sending a highly limited amount of them, as you can see. Well, if you scroll down a little bit, it'll say you're going to be giving them like highly limited to stores to try and get people back into the store and help inject a little bit of I guess to help the stores back up, right? I mean, Wizards has done one really good thing throughout this entire COVID-19 thing is that they know that they can make things that people love. And if they can make more of this stuff just to help stores like Heroes World get our player base back, we're all for it, right? Because us having players means we sell more cards.
Yeah. All right, cool. And I think the last thing they just talk about is that Arena is in fact available on your mobile device. So like I said, long time coming. This is great for people to be able to just pick up their phone, play, and especially if you're new to the rules of Magic and maybe you're too shy to, we used to run demonstrations at the store. We had a very friendly, I'd like to say we still have a very friendly draft community and all that kind of stuff. So we were very welcoming. But if you were maybe too shy and you wanted to make sure you're playing by the right rules and things like that, this is definitely a good tool to either learn to play or it could be your main way of playing. Like there's so many different ways to play Magic now that having this in the stable is, I think, very cool. And then I'm not quite sure what these are. These are some old cards that they've added.
They're cards that they're adding to Magic Online or MTGA to widen and largen the card pool. So it's more Magic Arena stuff.
Yeah, more Magic Arena stuff. So definitely check that out. Thank you again for tuning in, guys. Before we do any of our final things, I'll just go through our spiel. So you can follow us on Heroes World Online, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. If you're on the YouTube, please subscribe so you can get notifications when we go randomly live like this. And we do also have a Magic group. I'll add it to the YouTube listing after this airs. And we do post the new Arena codes every Friday. So if you are playing Arena and you want some of the cool codes that stores that give out every Friday, we post them up there, and we also post a bunch of, sometimes we're running Magic specials and other things like that, so definitely check there. And we do have a bunch of right now we have a bunch of Magic specials that you can get, promo packs and promo cards and things like that on our website, so heroesworld.ca. And I think that's all I want to say about that. Magic, definitely contact me if you want to get in your name on any list for any of these pre-orders and things like that, and if you want to play with us when hopefully we are able to play together. If not, let's open cards and start collecting together. This set looks both sets look great. I'm especially excited for this D&D set, but Modern Horizons 2 is going to be a very hot set as well. So parting thoughts. I don't know if you have anything else to say, Pat, on this. How excited were you to see all this stuff crazy going on? I know you're not a big D&D guy, but this has got to add a little bit of excitement, adding another license to combining forces, like Voltron. Like, I don't know what else you can add from the Wizards of the Coast or Hasbro lineup to merge into something super powerful.
Yeah, I think
Transformers, Warhammer coming out, I think. Yeah. So Wizards is going all in.
I think I'm more excited about the possibility. I'm not a huge D&D person, but the fact that they're combining with D&D means, like you said, bring back, do can you imagine if they did like a Transformers set, like you said? You know, you can flip cards, or they even mentioned that they're going to be doing 40K. Can you imagine a 40K set where you're? I mean, at the end of the day, the game is the same, but you kind of have flavor behind it, and the game itself
opens the door to a lot of possibilities. Yeah,
and anything to get more people playing the game has always been, I think, worthwhile.
And combining their properties like this, so now you're going to have vice versa. We had a bunch of Magic guys check out D&D when the D&D book came out, so now let me kick it to Andre. You've played Magic over the years. We've been selling Magic for a long time, Andre. It's been a hot minute. But how excited does them adding D&D, this lore, these characters, these objects and things like that, and the idea that this could continue. Forgotten Realms is only one of the campaign settings. Am I not correct, Andre?
Yes.
There's multiple settings. So go ahead, Andre.
So this is, as John said, with John and I have had the store for almost 20 years, and D&D's been a big part of it, as has Magic the Gathering. And what we've really seen is, and I think this is a worldwide phenomenon, is you've seen Magic eclipse and dwarf Dungeons and Dragons. But clearly the inspiration for Magic was Dungeons and Dragons. So it's been a long time coming, but I think it is the right time because, even though we're all at home or we're not being able to play together, I think all the years of Wizards of the Coast perfecting their game, as well as introducing different mechanics across how old is Magic? 25 years now, almost, right? More. So
93. It was introduced in '93 at Gen Con.
Yeah. So look how long. So these guys know what they're doing, and they are the game that every other game is compared to. Just like every role-playing game has its roots in Dungeons and Dragons. To be honest with you, when Wizards of the Coast announced earlier on that they were doing a Lord of the Rings set and a Warhammer set, I'm like, how is there no D&D set? I'm like, what's going on? But now that they've announced it and showed it, I think I am more excited for the D&D set. However, we all know how good Magic is, and we all know how powerful those other licenses are. So if a Warhammer player decides to pick up that Warhammer 40K Magic set, they might get into Magic. But on the flip side, if, say, Pat decides to play that Marnius Calgar Commander deck, and he's like, wow, Warhammer art is fantastic. These things look cool. And he walks over to our Warhammer section in the store, that's what this is about. It's cross-promotion. It's cross-pollination, but it's really about getting people to know about all these great games, and most hobby stores like ours carry them. So I think it's just a match made in heaven, and I'm just ecstatic that Wizards of the Coast is doing it, and I'm also happy that their licensing guys are working on it, and they're not being, we protect this, or we only want Magic. We don't want anybody to know anything but Magic and Jace and Chandra and Nicobolas. No, the Magic engine is amazing. The game, the core mechanics, you could spread this out, and I think that's exactly what they're doing, but it's going to be quality. So I'm guaranteeing you guys, any version of this is going to be quality, whether you're in for the D&D or the Warhammer. I know it's going to be an expensive time. I haven't collected cards since World of Warcraft, but I'm all in for this D&D. I feel sorry for us. We're going to have so many singles, John. It's not even funny.
Hey, that singles is a good thing, man. So if we're going to crack boxes and have cards available for people to collect and things like that.
Honestly, Heroes World as a place is one of the few places left that you can actually get all three of those things that we discussed: D&D, miniature games, card games. A lot of stores don't have all three of those lanes anymore. You see card store, you see Games Workshop type stores, you see just card stores, but very few places have all three anymore. And I think the fact for us specifically, the fact that the three of us combined know a little bit, I guess, of all of it tells you a lot about what these guys are doing correctly.
Yeah. So I think this is awesome. Thank you everyone for tuning in. D&D, we already saw a big kind of explosion for D&D. I don't know if it's attributed to Stranger Things and all kinds of stuff, and the fact that people just want to play pen and paper, and the fact that it is a foundation for everything you play. Every game you play, it can probably be traced back to pen and paper development of those rules and things like that. And then Magic, it looks like Magic is just primed to explode. There's a new comic series going on right now, and there's a TV/movie project in the works. Yep. So we'll see what happens when that explodes. So this is crazy, folks. So I'm very happy to see this happen. Thank you everyone for tuning in. We will see you guys on the next one. So hopefully some more Magic content coming up. If you guys like this, if you guys want to see some D&D content, maybe some online games being run, adventures or breakdowns or Q&A. Andre is definitely here, and he could answer any question you have. And we have a lot of very good friends of the story who've helped us out a lot, that are very knowledgeable DMs, that would hopefully be able to come on and talk to you.
We should do a crazy campaign story. Like, we got Gordon here who's told that story. My buddy Scott's here.
Yeah, we should get Gordon to come in and get us into a situation where we have to go against a beholder and we all instantly die, but it might be a blast to watch us play through that for 2 hours or so.
We'll build characters for 5 hours to try and take on a beholder.
We'll do a series of of weekly episodes where we build all our characters and then they all just get murdered. So much so that whenever you see someone buying, they do make a beholder miniature figure in the WizKids line, and every time I see someone buy one, I'm like, oh, looks like you're going to be killing your party this coming week or something like that. So it's very funny.
What do your friends do to you to make you want to?
Yeah. I'm done. So you're quitting, eh? You're putting it down. But yeah, so both very fun games. Like if you haven't gotten into these type of games, then definitely it's something to consider, especially if any of this has enticed you. So thank you very much, folks. And we will see you on the next one. Thank you, Pat, for coming and explaining all this to us. Thank you, Andre, for dropping all this D&D knowledge. And thank you, everybody in the chat, for participating.
Yeah, thanks for everybody who participated. We got a lot of questions and comments. So this is what we want to do. This felt like we were in the store again. So thank you for spending your evening, a little bit of your evening with us. We much appreciate it.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, guys. Peace out. See you on the next one.